Alright guys, in this video we'll be finishing up modeling the wolf. So I create a sphere, and on the bottom left I change the segment number to 16 and the rings number to 8. This keeps the eye lower poly because it's not the most important part of the mesh, and we're trying to keep this as low poly as possible, although we will add a subdivision modifier. Alright, so I'm placing the eye as near where I think the eye will be, or where the eye should go on a wolf, obviously on the face. But once you get it about right, we're going to modify the geometry behind the eye to make it look a bit more natural. And to do so, we'll go into face mode, and then we will do an inset on the face behind the eye by pressing I. Funny. Anyways, now we will do or go into vertex mode, and we will modify each vertice that's around the eye to match up exactly with the edge of the eye. Alright, the eye's in the right place and it doesn't look too unrealistic, so we're going to move on. But before we do that, we're going to want to duplicate the eye and change its X position to negative. So you do Shift D to duplicate, and then you press escape or right click. I'm pretty sure it's escape, but then you go into the object's properties and change the X to negative, and that gives you two eyeballs that are mirrored. You could also mirror it, but yeah, there were some issues with that. You got to know how to apply the rotations and all that good stuff, which isn't hard, but I just decided to do it this way. Alright, so again we're going to use the inset on the front paws so we can create the talons of the wolf, or claws. We're going to scale the extruded faces down, not all at once though, because when we do that, you see what happens. So we're going to do it one by one. And we will match it with the reference image, like so. And we will add a edge loop by doing Control R, and then we'll modify that edge loop so that it gives the curve of a talon. So the issue that I was having there was because when I changed the origin point to be on the 3D cursor, it tended to, or on the active element, it tended to scale from that 3D cursor. So instead I changed it back to median, which is how it should be. But for certain things you change it. But that fixed that little issue right there. And we will continue to do that for the rest of the we will continue to do the same technique on the first talon as we did, or with the second, third, and the rear legs talons. I call them talons because I'm used to modeling dragons and stuff. They can be claws. I don't know. I don't know. Don't judge me. So to select an edge loop, you do Shift, Alt, and click, and that should do it. Sometimes it doesn't always select the loop that you want it to select, so you got to kind of work with it. But that's how I selected that loop around the middle talon. Looking at it again, I noticed that the one of the talons isn't as round as I would like it to be, so I just modify some vertices real fast to fix it up. Alright, now that the front talon is done, we're going to be doing the same thing on the back talon, or the back talons. So we're going to speed up this part of the video, because we use the same exact techniques that we did on the front. So yeah, just do what you did on the front to the rear claws, talons, and it should be good. Okay, so after the claws, we're going to add the fur, and we're going to do it a bit differently than one might expect, but we're going to select some vertices and we're going to extrude them to match with the light blue lines of the reference image. And as you'll notice that this only creates one face, and the normals might not be flipped correctly, but we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Select those vertices, extrude them, and match them up or sync them up with the light blue line of the reference image. Now we're going to select those vertices again, and then we're going to scale them just on the x-axis so that they pinch in closer to each other, but not quite touching. Alright, that looks good for now. Um, we will learn how to recalculate the normals very shortly, so don't worry if you see um, some blue-sided faces. It's okay um, for now, because we're going to fix it, trust me. If you already know how to fix it, then by all means, go and fix it. But we're going to do the same thing to the hind legs. We're going to extrude a couple of the vertices matching up with the blue, light blue reference image line. And we'll synchronize it with the reference image. I don't know if that's the right word, synchronize, but it makes sense to me, so. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now we're going to extrude the vertices or edge loop around the neck to give it the neck fur that is also shown in the light blue portion of the reference image. This needs a little bit of modifying, so don't worry too much when you see the blue faces. I, I promise we'll fix them. But yeah, when I did this, I tended to modify each vertice one by one, but I just wanted to get the extrusion out first, and then I would make it work, make it look fairly decent. And I didn't actually synchronize up with the reference image's light blue fur, because I'm a little bit lazy, if I'm being honest. And there was a lot of fur to go off of. So you don't have to do so, but if you want to, by all means, do so. And it will make it look just that much better. I haven't quite showed it yet, but if you want to recalculate the normals on any given mesh, you can select the entire mesh in either face mode, edge mode, or vertex mode, preferably face mode. Select all the faces and then hit Control N and it should recalculate it. So now we're going to do some of the chest hair, and we do an inset. And to remove the border, you got to press B. That's how it like attached to the middle. And then we're just going to shape it fairly oval fairly like an oval. I don't know how to say that, but a little bit like an oval. And then we will extrude those vertices. And then we will just scale them on the x-axis, my bad, and make sure they clip together. I like to model from the side view, and when there is geometry blocking the vision, I normally tend to turn on or hit Shift Z, which allows you to see through the mesh just a little bit. And yeah, that way I'm able to access the vertices I need to access without having to switch out of what's it called? Side view. Yeah. Alright, so as you see, I just clicked on a face that I wanted to recalculate, and I just hit Control N, and that recalculated the normals, which was nice. Now we're going to add some fur on the tail, and I selected an edge loop using the Shift Alt. And if your user settings aren't set that way, you can always watch the beginning of the video and see how my user preferences or settings are set. And for every edge on the tail, I extrude some more faces to cover it. And I just keep going until the end. And like I said earlier, I use Shift Z fairly often to see through the mesh. And now for the most part, the wolf model is done. So I selected all the vertices, all the faces, all the edges, and I hit Control N, and that recalculated all the normals. But if some of them didn't do it, then I selected them manually, and I clicked on W, which gave me a menu and the option to flip normals.